during the Global War on Terror, when the 75th Ranger Regiment was tasked to chase the enemies of our nation across mountains and salt flats, they had to come up with an apparatus to train their people so that they didn't deploy and touch that type of terrain for the first time. And so they came up with this thing called the Punisher.
Team, welcome back to another week of the Mops and Moes podcast. We're post-Thanksgiving now?
For listeners, yeah, maybe, probably. I think so.
Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. We're recording this before that, but by the time you hear us, I hope. Okay. Unplanned, but this just made me think about this. Have we talked about the fact that I think Thanksgiving food is the most overrated?
I do not think we've talked about this,
It's
and
overrated.
I will happily take the against as people who.
Wait, you're against Thanksgiving food?
No, I am opposed to you.
Please carry on. Embrace debate. It's obnoxious. This is
overrated. This is the intro
good.
Of the episode, so people won't have heard the episode yet, but you will discover during the episode that I recently had a dream about Army DFAC Thanksgiving food.
I forgot about that, actually. That's a good point.
Look
at us. Come full circle.
And I don't need it to be like fancy. I don't need it like all the extra things. I need the basics solid. Like turkey, gravy, mashed potatoes, stuffing, green beans, and cranberry sauce. If we check all those boxes, I'm pretty good.
Here's the deal. You know how I know you're lying? Tell me 2 other times during the year when you eat turkey.
I will do Thanksgiving dinner other times during the year.
You'll go buy a turkey.
I usually don't buy a whole turkey.
Because
if I'm doing it randomly during the year, it's probably
wait
just
a
for
second.
me.
Hold on. We might have uncovered something.
You can get
here.
sliced turkey and get to work.
So there's this thing like, what's your serial killer tendency? Like a buddy, John Romanello, actually. John, if he's listening,
shout out.
Sleeps no clothes but socks, I think is what it was.
No, that's not good.
Serial killer and sorry, I might have ruined his life.
I did see something fantastic earlier. Somebody posted about like people who sleep naked. Like, what's your plan if somebody breaks into your house? And the response was,
baby.
No, the response was brilliant. Is there are 2 kinds of people in this world. 1, people who are afraid of confronting an intruder while they're naked, and 2, people who plan to confront an intruder while they're naked.
Yeah, that is true.
This is not where I expected this intro to go.
Me neither. Your serial killer trait is that you just make Thanksgiving dinner in like May.
Turkey, mashed potatoes, cranberry sauce. I'll do it.
That is no. Team, please chime in on how insane that is.
It's not the most like summery meal, but you can do it like whenever you want.
It's not the most anything meal. It's like you can
pull that out in March or something.
Listen, if you surveyed America and said, "Hey guys, this year we're switching it up. It's steaks and hamburgers," I think most people would be like, "Yeah, I could get down with that." Turkey is like far and away the worst poultry you could eat.
I mean, prime rib comes out on Thanksgiving somewhat regularly. I think that's an acceptable.
As it should.
Yeah.
I say this, granted, to be fair, grew up in the
prime
South.
Rib,
very
interestingly
southern
though.
Thanksgiving.
Go ahead. I'll come back in a second.
I'm just saying, I've never had like the deep fried turkey. I've heard that's pretty good. I will say when I go to the like Renaissance festivals or the state fairs, the turkey legs are pretty good. So there's clearly a better way to do it. But the like nursing home type Thanksgiving dinner thing is just not good.
I'm conflicted on prime rib because.
What do you mean you're conflicted on prime rib? It's delicious.
I mean, like just like a regular steak is pretty. Like the best thing about prime rib is the excuse to incorporate a lot of horseradish because I love horseradish, and that's like the only time.
Interesting.
You break out like a significant quantity of horseradish is to go with prime rib.
You know, most wasabi at sushi restaurants is just horseradish.
I have heard that, yeah.
It's not actually wasabi. We're getting way off the rails. Speaking of
off the rails?
No, because yeah, but in a good way.
Yeah.
Here you go. Speaking of not liking stuff.
Ooh.
Yeah. We're talking today to somebody who thought he didn't like us. And now I would consider us friends. Who is our new friend?
We are talking to Command Sergeant Major Shaun Curry. He's a native of, I will probably pronounce this wrong.
Yeah, good luck.
Wauwatosa, Wisconsin.
Nice.
He enlisted in the Army in February 2001. I was in 3rd grade, I think. Sorry, Sergeant Major. Sergeant Major Curry's previous assignments include 2nd Ranger Battalion, Human Resources Command, 75th Ranger Regiment Headquarters, 3rd Ranger Battalion, 6th Ranger Training Battalion, Operations Sergeant Major of 2nd Battalion, 5th SFAB, Battalion Command Sergeant Major of 1st Battalion, 21st Infantry Regiment. And his most recent assignment was as the Brigade CSM for 3rd Infantry Brigade of 25th Infantry Division. And he is now the Sergeant Major of 25th Infantry Division.
What are they called? What is 25th?
Tropic Lightning.
So like instead of all the way, they say Tropic Lightning.
I mean, I don't actually know what their like motto.
What their thing is? Yeah. You keep going. I'm going to look that up.
Sergeant Major Curry completed all levels of NCO professional military education up to and including Sergeant Major Academy, Class 69. Nice. His additional military schooling includes Airborne, the Ranger Indoctrination Program, which is the predecessor to RASP. We talk about that a little bit in this conversation. Static Line Jumpmaster School, CRC, that's Survival, Evasion, Resistance, and Escape. Reconnaissance Senior Leaders Course, Sexual Harassment and Assault Response and Prevention Course. An overlap for us, a weirdo one, I guess if you've been in an instructor billet, but he is a graduate of the Common Faculty Development Program instructor course, which I also went to and was surprised by how good it was, actually. Master Resiliency Training Course, Combat Advisor Training Course, and Jungle Operations Training Course. Also got a Master of Science in Organizational Development and Leadership from the University of the Incarnate Word. He deployed 14 times for a total of 61 months to both Afghanistan and Iraq in support of the global war on terror. His awards and decorations include the Legion of Merit, Bronze Star with V, 3 Bronze Stars, Purple Heart, Meritorious Service Medal, 5th Award, Joint Service Commendation Medal, Combat Infantryman Badge, Expert Infantryman Badge, Ranger Tab, Master Parachutist Badge, and he is a member of the Order of St. Maurice. Sergeant Major Curry is married with 3 kids, and you will hear a couple times in this episode deferring to his wife on a couple questions.
She was in the room.
Yeah.
Presumably doing things.
Just out of microphone range.
Yes.
Yeah.
You were correct, Tropic Lightning.
Yeah. And before I forget, he does mention a couple times in the episode Detachment 201. I know not a lot of people know of Detachment 201 by name. It's still a pretty new thing. You've likely heard about it at least briefly on the news or in social media. That is the Army Reserve Detachment, where they direct commissioned a handful of tech executives as lieutenant colonels, and his unit recently got a visit from Detachment 201. So he refers to that a couple times in our conversation.
I've said this in the closer. I think you'll probably pick up on it as we're talking. But talking, like, one of the coolest senior leader conversations I think that we've had, certainly one of the most candid. It helps when somebody's not afraid to express themselves, which is always a pleasure as a podcast host to have somebody who likes to talk. We've had folks that don't necessarily like to talk, and that's always hard.
We have discovered that some PhDs are more comfortable in the lab than on camera.
Yeah, but thankfully, Command Sergeant Major Curry is very comfortable in front of camera.
Extremely.
So yeah, we do go in a lot of different directions, but I think as is always the goal when you have these folks at his level come on and talk, it's like, man, what is it really like at your level? Like, how do you, for example, how do you get the truth? Like, tell us about your story. He goes into his self-care routine, which I thought was pretty cool. So to me, I think the big takeaway here is that while, yes, you have the kind of hierarchy of the military and you have people at all these different levels, but like at the end of the day, just like you and I, you're talking to a human being. And I think he very quickly gets into a lot of his kind of human being story, which helps frame the rest of the conversation and ultimately leads to the tail end of things where the 3 of us literally are just hanging out, talking about all kinds of random stuff, which quite frankly was pretty fun. I don't think we get the chance to go off the rails intentionally that often. So an enjoyable hangout session with the Command Sergeant Major of the 25th Infantry Division. Tropic Lightning. Enjoy. It's Tropic Thunder.
where I have to open this, and we were discussing before recording a little bit the Det 201 visit you had, and I heard after the fact from some of those folks that you brought up Mops and Mo's in the meeting, which I think is fantastic. Appreciate any shout outs like that.
Yeah, actually it was negative, but keep going.
That's why I want to bring it up, because I heard that it was a little negative at first, and I want to know all about it.
He was hate listening to us.
I heard your intro to us was not necessarily a happy one. I want to know about it.
Okay, so I was listening to your heat acclimation one. Let's see, Major Wardinsky. I probably butchered his name. And the reason why someone sent it to me is because we were rewriting our blue book. And in the blue book, it specifically stated that you had to do PT between 6:30 and 9, which is absolutely bonkers. Like, come on, let's be real about where PT should happen. And so I was like, all right, well, let's listen to this guy who jumped in with the 82nd in, I think it was Pacific Defender. Check my notes. Yep, Defender Pacific, sorry. And he talked about how he did PT with the soldiers in the afternoon to make them more ready for the jump. That jump left Fort Bragg, went to Guam. They jumped into Guam, and everybody who was healthy enough to jump from Guam somewhere else jumped into Indonesia. Well, I happen to have been on the drop zone for that. At the time, I was I don't jump anymore. I'm in a light infantry unit. We can talk about that later. That was a MASCAL. So massive casualty event that they were not prepared for. We were not prepared for. But I had a bunch of former paratroopers with me and my medical team to take care of them. Anyways, so what I really wanted was to learn what this guy thought about the operation. And I love that he did PT in the afternoons, right? Fort Bragg, it's hot, it's gross, it's humid, it's lots of humidity. You know, they jumped into Guam, it was about 90 degrees, 60% humidity, it was pretty nice. And then they jump into Indonesia, where I was, which was about 110, 120 degrees. And we were at max humidity. So I knew we were going to have a problem. I had to order in extra IVs, all the extra things. Anyways, we took care of those folks. And then I started thinking, what are we going to do here in the 25th to solve that problem? So I've been on the island here for 5 years. I got here as a battalion sergeant major in July of 20, right in the middle of COVID. We went to JRTC. We were the first unit to deploy out to JRTC from here as a CDRE, so a sea emergency response deployment. And it crushed us because we weren't training at the team, squad, platoon level. But, the American soldier prevails. I've been lucky enough to go from battalion to brigade to division. And now that I get to be the guy that writes the blue book, I will tell you, we authorize PT at the commander's discretion. You must do it. Department of War policy, you must do PT every day. But if a commander says they want to do it in the afternoon because they want to acclimate for heat, then they can't, because it gets pretty hot. I mean, it's about 3:15 in the afternoon for us, 85 degrees. I know you guys are all across the globe, but 85 degrees, it's kind of humid. It's not too bad. Nice gentle breeze up here in the jungle. But if you get down to the beach, it's pretty gnarly. So it's time for all of us to think about PT at different hours.
So I want to ask about that. And for our folks who are not spend a bunch of time on active duty or anything, Blue Book is where units establish their specific local standards.
That's correct.
And that's been a challenge in some spaces, because I've talked before about the fact that the Army does not mandate PT as 6:30 to 8, but a lot of local policies do. It sounds like that Blue Book used to. So I'm kind of curious, as a division or an installation is rewriting a blue book to tackle some of this stuff. What goes into that? Like what are the factors? Because I know like traffic around the base is a big factor.
Huge.
Like relationship
Huge.
with the community is a factor. Civilians don't like soldiers commuting at the same time as they are, and they get annoyed. I'm very curious what all the variables that, like, as you sit down with the staff and talk about, like, what are we going to mandate and what are we going to allow flexibility on?
Yeah. So the first thing we do is we look at Department of War policy and what is mandated to us. Then we look at Congress and what is mandated by law, what must we do. Then we look at Army and what does the Army say we have to do. And all of that's generally the same. Got to be fit, got to work out, got to be war ready, got to be, a credible deterrence, which we can talk about later. That's what we do here in the Pacific. And then I look at my local community and what can we do here? So we've got 22 installations across U.S. Army Hawaii, specifically to my division. We're really only at 1 or 2 spots. To get here is very tight for commute, to be polite about it. So it turns into a huge traffic jam. I was going to say something else, but probably not appropriate for the audience. So if a commander wants to do PT outside of normal hours, that's a commander's directive. They can do that. What goes into changing the blue book is literally, hey boss, I was thinking about this. What do you think? Here's where we fit against all the regulations. And here's where I want to adjust. And luckily, as we were rewriting, Major General Barthelmess, who's the division commander here, he trusts what we do and he trusts the process. He's also been here about 5.5 years, just worked up at USAPAC. So he knows the hard training and why we do it, why we need it. And if it makes it past legal and makes common sense, I know you guys don't like common sense with sergeant majors. I think I heard a comment about Zone 2 and sergeants majors not liking common sense. We can get that again later. I hate listening of your podcast, but common sense does prevail here, and that's how it changes. I mean, it's literally just like the three of us just talking and BSing. What is real? What are we really doing? Because if I'm going to make a policy as a division sergeant major or ask for policy for the division commander to sign, it's got to be something that's doable, that's measurable, and I can hold people accountable to it. And if none of those matter, then why write it in? Why sign?
Do you still hate us?
To the point that my driver now listens to you while we're driving places. So maybe not hate, but it's convenient that I can listen. I'm watching.
Watching that.
I'm all.
That's a very sergeant major reaction.
That introduces a strange pressure I've not felt in many years.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, it's great.
I want to ask you.
Thanks.
It's kind of a strange question, I think, but like having now set within the H2F model for a number of years, and like Alex and I have always had this conversation about adjusting PT. Maybe PT is more flexible. Like from where you sit, from a policy making standpoint, what would it look like to just go to the extreme end of that spectrum and turn PT over to soldiers the way that it would be in the normal world? I know that's an extreme example, but I'm just curious what that would look like from where you are.
Yeah. Well, I have to put it in frame of reference that I came in the Army in 2001. And way back before the war happened, the global war on terror, we did PT every morning. We would show up. My team leader would show up into the office. In fact, I lived in the squad room. So my squad leader would come in, he'd slap the lights on, he'd yell at us to get out of bed. His name was Josh Wheeler. Fantastic human being. He'd yell at the squad name, tell us to get ready. We'd get out there and do our hygiene, get out and do formation. He saw us face to face in the morning to make sure that we were good, talk about our families, and then we would, right face and run because there's no stretching in 2001. And then we would get back and we would do battle drill rehearsal, or we would rehearse drill and ceremony out in the formation. And that unit at the time was not great at drill and ceremony, so I'm kind of telling you a bit of a fib by saying we did it every day. How do I change it? How do I change it to let commanders do it? Commanders do PT when you need to do PT. Like I can say that here because I have a very small organization. Because I trust my commanders. My brigade command teams are phenomenal. They all have different jobs to do, and I saw it on your notes. Things you wanted to talk about was, how did we start with nothing? What I won't do is tell you to do PT by yourself. Because your most fit people, the folks that are like 500s on the AFT, where do you think they should be working out? Question for you two.
So this is something I've thought about frequently, because the solution people love to say is let your high performers PT on their own.
Yeah.
But as soon as you remove all your high performers, you've created a problem for the rest of the organization.
Yeah. Who's going to convert my non-believers?
It's tough.
Yeah. And I'm not telling you that I don't, every once in a while, particularly when I travel, want to go work out by myself. But I will tell you that the Army says I have to. This division says we have to. Everybody has to work out with somebody. No one works out alone. That's in our blue book. But it's when you do it is on the command team. So I have staff. They respond. Hawaii, I don't even know what time zone difference we're at, but it's like 5 or 6 hours. You believe in daylight savings. We don't have that here in Hawaii. That doesn't bother us. But if I'm going to do an East Coast meeting, that's at like 4 a.m. So I'm up at 3, meditate, take care of my dog, get myself ready, my normal morning routine. And then I do my morning meeting with the East Coast. And then I'm thrashed by noon. Do I think people are going to do PT in the afternoon when they do that? No, they're not. It's unrealistic. I don't know if I answered your question, but I would tell you, we've got a lot of people in the Army that signed up and they really want to do really good. But maybe they joined from a place where they didn't have sports in their high school, or they didn't have a good kind of adult role model. Who's leading them during PT? Who's helping them get better? The three of us were high performers. Otherwise, we wouldn't be talking about fitness, right? Allegedly. I'm not. I'm an aging athlete. You ask Coach Frank, every day he smokes me. I think our high performers need to help our low performers. I think our sergeants need to help their teams, their squads, their platoons. And doing PT on your own is great. But if you're a marathoner and the Army's PT program is not reaching your goal, you should go run your marathon training plan after PT or some other time during the day.
Where would you see, I'm curious because I feel like you'd have a good answer to this. Where would you see civilian subject matter experts fit into that equation? Because that's an ongoing conversation we have here.
Yeah. I don't have a degree in fitness. One class away from becoming an executive coach with a master's degree. I have a NASM CPT. I'm CrossFit level 1. I've gone to TSAC. I've been to Apex. But I'm not a coach. So I would start with our platoon leaders and platoon sergeants should look at their training calendar. What does the next 90, 180 days look like? For us, that's EIB, expert infantryman's badge, expert field medical badge, an expert soldier's badge. That's about 180 days for us. If your train up does not build to those 3 things, then you're playing whack-a-mole. Guess who doesn't know how to write a training plan? Or better yet, someone tell me what Army school teaches platoon sergeants and captains or lieutenants how to write a training plan. Do we know?
Alex is old school.
Huh.
Master Fitness.
In
trainer.
theory, MFT / the new H2FI.
Yeah.
I don't know what percentage of platoon leaders and platoon sergeants have been to that course.
No.
One of our biggest problems, we used to, like, while I was at the school, we did a data poll of all the graduates that had the ASI that were out there in the force. And typically what happens is people go to the school, they collect their promotion points, they promote into a position where they're not using it anymore.
Yeah, it's a cool guy thing, right? Goes on my soldier talent profile. Someone can see that I've done it.
It's tough.
Yeah, we hold those folks accountable. So the way I see it is NCO led, commander approved, because it's got to meet a training calendar, but civilian informed. You all have degrees, you've got certifications. If, there's a lot of talk out here, next gen communications, next gen C2 is the thing. And what does AI do for us? And how much of these programs can I write with AI? Bro, I don't care how good your AI is. That does not account for snap tasks. Go pick up brass at pick a range, or you've got gate guard today, or whatever. You've got CQ. That doesn't account for everybody. And I need civilians because I can't do it by myself.
So I am curious. You mentioned, as you were talking about that, when you came into the Army, and this might set up story time for a second here. We'll see.
You got to stop me, because at some point I will just talk and talk.
Hey, that's something we look for in podcast guests. That is selection criteria for us.
Yeah. Also, I'm a huge introvert, so I'm glad it's just the three of us on the camera. Like, it helps. Go ahead, keep going.
So to set up story time, you mentioned joining the Army in 2001.
Yep.
I saw a bio of you somewhere on the internet that says you graduated RASP. I'm guessing it was RIP at the time.
RIP. Yeah, Ranger Indoctrination Program, totally different from RASP.
Yep. And is it accurate that you graduated like a week before 9/11?
August 31st, 2001. I was ordered to Fort Lewis, Washington, now known as Joint Base Lewis McChord, on the 1st of September, 2001.
Great timing.
I gotta ask. I'm opening up story time for you for a second on what that experience was like. You joined an Army expecting one thing, and very rapidly that changed into something entirely different. I'm curious. I think we can weave in a little bit of like the fitness culture of coming in and getting to Ranger Regiment and stuff, like what RIP was like. But mostly I just want to know what getting to your unit after RIP and like the war kicking off looked like.
For frame of reference, how old are both of you? When are you born?
36.
91 for me.
Okay, 91. I don't
89.
do math in public.
89.
Okay, so for those of us born before 2000,
the 1900s.
Yeah, that's right. Way back when, before we had cell phones. My kids would lose their mind if I said that in front of them. So, I was raised by a single mother. I was born in the early 80s. We did not have money for a lot of things. We did not have money to put food on the table. We got our food from the church. I was pretty good at school, but I was not good in my personal life. I lived a life of, I worked really hard to try and make sure that there was money for my family. And then I made some poor decisions in college, and I lost my scholarship. Well, guess what? Inner city kids don't got a lot of money to pay for college. So I had to come up with a solution. At that time, I rekindled the relationship with my wife. I think I just saw her outside. She's working on our garden outside. We were high school sweethearts, on again, off again. And the day I decided to drop out of college, she calls me, friend of a friend. We linked up, and that's what brought me back and kindled with her. She had our stepdaughter already at the time, and I wanted to be a part of their life, and I wanted to be a better person, more responsible. I wasn't very fit. I could fight. I could do that pretty good. I was a high school wrestler. I wrestled from, 6th grade all the way through up to college. We didn't have a team at my college. So I knew what like working hard meant. I knew what being on a good team meant. I just didn't have the experience where I was. So anyways, I drop out of college. I joined the Army. I don't tell my wife, girlfriend at the time. I slowly move into her apartment. Finally she's like, why is your alarm clock here and not at your dorms? I'm like, I dropped out of college.
That's the tell.
Hey, why is your pillow here and not at school?
Yeah. Wait, do you live here?
I got kicked out of the dorms. So, anyways, so I signed up, and I make it into the recruiter. The recruiter asked what I want to do. Okay, back up. So I first went to the Marines. I've got family that served in the Marines. But our local Marine Corps recruiter knew what I had been up to in my civilian life before the Army. Was like, not a chance, get out of here. So I walked next door to the Army recruiter and he says, what do you want to do? And they had this old 80s Ranger they were jumping out of helicopters. It was kind of like all OD green. I don't know if you remember this video. I'm sure you can find it. We're not talking on Joe Rogan, but Jamie somewhere will figure it out for us. And I was like, I want to do that. And I don't know a damn thing about it. I want to jump out of airplanes. I want to blow things up just like that video. And the guy's like, I got you. Later on, I found out he failed out of Ranger school because he couldn't swim. Neither here nor there, right? Recruiters do what they need to. So I ship off, go to basic training, Fort Benning, Georgia, School for Wayward Teens. They taught me how to be a part of a team, how to work out, how to figure out what normal life is like in the service. Back then, it was a little different. We sang a lot of songs about the Rangers and what war would be like. And we went into airborne hold. About mid-spring, you'll see a lot of folks trying to go to airborne school, graduating from colleges, and all of the basic trainees kind of surging in, all your high school kids kind of coming in. So we were in airborne hold. I wasn't allowed to wear jungle boots yet because I hadn't been to RIP. So I'm polishing my normal Army leather boots. Break. Kids, way back when we had these boots, they were completely made out of leather. And everything and I used a bit of tobacco with some polish to make them super shiny. If they were bad, you'd get in really bad trouble. So anyways, make it through airborne school, which like a kid from the Midwest, I'd only flown on a plane like 3 times. I don't know what the hell I was thinking. But I really just wanted to be something better than what I was before. And the drive was to get like, how hard can I push myself? How much better can I be? So then I go over to RIP, Ranger Indoctrination Program. And there was a bunch of holdovers. This was the year that the Rangers went from a black beret to tan beret. And that's a whole nother podcast for probably a history person. But they held over 3 of our selection classes. Now it's called Ranger Assessment and Selection Program. It's 8 weeks long. For us, it was 4 weeks long. And we had about 400 or so. I don't know. Again, I didn't do math. I really wasn't thinking about it. I just wanted to get it over with. About 400 folks that started after the ceremony. And they whittled us down to somewhere around 75. And every day of that course was designed to see if you were going to quit on the regiment, if you were going to quit on your Ranger buddies to your left and right, and how much you actually cared about being a part of the program. And lots of folks drop. There's all kinds of reasons. Nowadays kids are like, I just want to get to my unit. Yeah, screw that. Keep charging, whatever it is. Keep piling on. So I get to the unit in 01. and they were deployed to Germany. My company was. They were doing a training event in Germany, and everyone's got a rear D story, a rear detachment story. These guys were all folks going to or coming back from Ranger School, going to or coming back from selection for special mission units. No one on that team was a slouch. And everything I learned the months prior went out the window. We just started crushing. I got to get fit. I got to eat right. And I got to get ready. And, within 3 days of reporting, 9/11 happened. And I met a medic who taught me how to eat right, because I never thought about eating right, outside of wrestling. We had a civilian strength coach. I can't remember his name at the time. Somewhere, my first roommate is going to listen to this, and he's going to remind me. I'm going to feel like a schmuck. But he was like a Mr. Olympian guy, so he taught me how to lift. So I came in the Army at like 150. We got married. My wife, Amy, and I got married in December of 2001. I was 210, 10% body fat, and ready to fight anything that they said we would during all of those cadences way back when.
Is that 60 pounds in 3 months? Or am I... Jesus.
Yep.
Well done.
Would you say you met a medic who taught you how to eat right?
Eat. Right? Because
eat.
Oh my gosh. Look.
Was any of the stuff you were eating coming out of his medic pack?
No. We didn't do that back then.
It's 2001, Alex.
That was not a part of our culture. It may have been elsewhere, but in our organization, that was not a part of our culture. The thing that this guy taught me, and he had been a strength coach in the civilian world before he became an Army medic, was, hey, you're not eating 3 times a day. Here's the food you can pick out of your, because I was a private, I lived in the barracks. Here are the things you can pick out of the DFAC, the dining facility, that will help you or hurt you. Just because they have hamburgers available doesn't mean you should grab that stuff. You didn't work out hard enough. He also taught me about sleep. I didn't know anything about proper sleep. He taught me about, pre-workout creatine. Like, all right, wow, look at this thing. But more importantly, he taught me about eating right, getting into the gym when I needed to, when I should, even when I don't want to, and then accountability. Back then you were given a battle buddy. We do it today, but it's not the same way. And my battle buddy, my Ranger buddy, Joe Somerville, retired a few years back as a master sergeant. Even days that it sucked, and I've been, let's call it, doing corrective PT all day long. He would come in and say, all right, we got to hit the gym. We got to do 2 days. And, he got shot in the early years of the war. And I fully believe that his ability to bounce back from being wounded was because of how fit we were in the early years.
This is a weird side question. You don't know a guy named Brandon Young, do you? You guys are both in Ranger.
Yeah.
So fascinatingly, I have talked to him about his early days in Ranger Regiment experience, and he said something that was almost exactly the opposite. He had the burger at the DFAC every single day.
What? Oh my God. I wasn't allowed to have an omelet until I had stripes on my chest. And that's I returned from Ranger School, and I've got I got my Ranger tab. Boom, I'm ready to rock. I'm tough. I'm this guy, made it through RIP, I made it through Ranger School. I still could not have fresh eggs until I was a sergeant.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it didn't take me much longer to get that. I came out of Ranger School, and I went to Ranger School in January of 2003, and I graduated in July of 2003. That happened to have been the window of the invasion of Iraq. Let's not talk about that because I get a little jaded. Feel free. War continued. I thought I missed the whole thing.
I was going to say.
And then, that was super early, right? And then by February, March is when I pinned. That's when I can have my own fresh eggs. And if I want it, a cheeseburger.
Team, this episode of Mops and Mo's is brought to you by Train Heroic. Train Heroic is a reliable, well-designed platform for programming, tracking, and communicating with athletes. If you've been with us for any length of time, you will know that Train Heroic is the platform that we use to power our own training, long and strong, which you can find at our website, mopsandmos.com. If you're looking for a solid platform to support your own coaching, whether it's your full-time role or a side hustle, Train Heroic is definitely worth checking out. You can use the link in any of our show notes, you can find it in our newsletter, or you can head to our website, mopsandmos.com/training to get your first week for free.
This is this you could go a million different directions with this, but I'll turn it over to you. What would you say have been the biggest changes in the Army from then to now? I'm going to make you give me 3.
Okay.
Just for fun.
We had a time there where individualism was accepted and applauded.
Back in the day?
No, I'm saying recent.
Recent, okay.
Yeah. And way back when, didn't matter what Curry wanted. You're going to execute. We, as an American culture, have taken on individualism, and we really applaud our people for being, who you are, be a great human, right? Treat each other with dignity and respect. But in the fitness world, I'm really not interested if you're an ultra marathoner. And back to Alex, we talked to Kevin from Det 201 not too long ago. I made sure not to say anything about him being an ultra marathoner. That's great, but you're also a lieutenant colonel in the United States Army, and you have to be an athlete that can compete in combat. So that's one. 2 is during the global war on terror, our commitment was stretched to ourselves, to our country. Folks signed up; they knew they were going to war. Some people signed up just to go to war, which is, if you're listening and that's something you want, don't do it. That's bad. You'll find it, and it will not treat you well. So the reality of life in combat was so big from 2000. Let's call it 2, because no one knew what the hell was happening in 01. It was just like, let's respond as fast as possible and quit trying to hurt me in America. To probably 19, maybe 20. And so you came to work every day and you worked your face off, and you knew you had a mission. You were going to go overseas. You were going to fight. That has changed. So if you're a member of U.S. Army Forces Command or Western Hemisphere Command or whatever it's going to turn into here in a few weeks, they're a global response force with 18 hours, give or take, to anything. Disaster relief, humanitarian aid, credible defense or credible deterrence to an enemy. It's really hard to plan your fitness for that. So what is fit enough? Also listen to endurance. Are you long enough? Are you strong?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, great. We were just listening to that in the truck. So anyways, that's a good one. Talking about this morning during PT. Well, what kind of athlete are you? In my early years of my Army time, it was, I'm never going to let someone outrun me. So if an enemy takes off from a house, they're never going to outrun me because they put me in that house for a reason, and I'm going to go solve that problem. I'm never going to lose a fist fight. Now, I may lose a fist fight with a Ranger buddy because they're pretty tough folks. But if the enemy decides to throw down, I'm going to throw down right there. And the pressures, the stress of war I'm going to be prepared for. So that was number 2. Number 3 would be there was a time, I can't remember which general did it, that someone removed Burger King from Afghanistan. And you'd think that this guy said, we're going to war on nutrition. And I think he did. I think he set the example.
General McChrystal.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you Googling right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, great. I mean, like, what a leader, right? Get the junk food out of my combat zone. I can't remember what he said, but it was like, from the pedestal, told us get it out of here. We need to be feeding ourselves in such a way that we are better humans for it. I strive for 1% better every day. That's a whole nother conversation. I got wounded in 11. And ever since I've been trying to get back from my injuries. But why do we have fast food everywhere?
Dude, don't get me started. Yes.
This is Drew's hill to die on.
Yeah.
Well, no, let me ask you that. So I'm jumping it. I want to ask you. Because, like, okay, I still have not really been able to get a straight answer from people at like the highest levels of command at these installations and these divisions. Like, why is it this way? Is it a contracting thing that we literally just can't get around? Our hands are tied. People way above us control this. But like, it is, to me, it is the biggest like juxtaposition of the Army investing in health, fitness, wellness, simultaneously junk food, and feed me all day long, the kind of BS line of like freedom of choice. But like, we have to do something to change it. So that's me ranting. Go for it.
So I sat with our members of Detachment 201 a couple weeks ago, and they were asking, what can we change today? And I said, look, maybe we're at an 80-20. And yes, I listened to your podcast again out of hate.
Keep doing that.
Yeah. It's all out of spite. Everyone don't like it, dislike it.
Yeah.
Just listen to it, right? Good publicity. Any publicity is good publicity.
There you go.
Anyways, so the 80, I think they said it was 80-20 convenience or fast food versus 20% food that's good, maybe in Go for Green, right? I asked the team, how do we switch to 70-30 Go for Green or something healthier in 30 convenience, that needs to be able to be eaten, ordered, and moved as fast and conveniently as a fast food restaurant. Because we've got people out here, myself included, who came in the Army where fast food was like, okay, that's life. Let me go grab something. And I'm not going to lie, this week, she's not in here. She'll tell me if I'm wrong. I think I've had fast food 2 or 3 times this week. But you can still choose what is healthy for you. Looking for concurrence from my wife.
For those who are only listening, he's looking off to the side of the camera right now, getting the thumbs up.
Yeah, there's only one person in this world that I'm afraid of, and she's right here. She says that's not fair, but I believe it's true. She has taken care of me and made sure that I'm doing the right thing for a long time. And, I'll ever forward. Anyways, fast food. So I have heard of this. This like walk in, I scan my CAC card, and I get food off of the menu. I forget what they called it.
Warrior restaurants. Warrior. I don't know. Warrior something.
Why
can't I have that?
So
question marks.
I'll offer a thought that comes to mind as you're talking about this. One of the reasons I hear is that like AFES is the right of first refusal concessionaire for food vending on base, and they need to choose companies that like succeed in the capitalist environment that's on the base. So they have to do business. They have to be cheap enough, whatever.
Sure.
But what comes to mind for me, because I'm thinking through there, you talked about the speed of getting the food out. That can be a tough thing for trying to deliver health food. But I think some places have cracked the code to a certain degree on like your kavas and your sweet greens and things like that. Like, there are places delivering pretty good, very fast food. They just tend to be slightly more expensive, which introduces a challenge in competition. And I'm speaking into the void here. Nobody who has the power to do this is listening. But I bet if the Department of War or the Department of the Army subsidized those kinds of providers of food so that it was cheaper to eat that food on base, only on base, I bet we would save more money in the long term as a result of like medical costs deferred or avoided in the long run and gains in readiness.
Army body composition. Why do we have that program? Why do we have ABCP? Let's talk about that real quick before we talk about food. Why does it exist?
I mean, I guess I'm risk mitigation to protect people, like to not put people in a situation that they're not capable of succeeding in.
Yeah, the ABCP is a plan to make sure that we don't let our folks get heart disease because we don't need to die, right? Like, how do we help them? This time last year, I was 245 pounds. I had an ACFT score of 588, and I didn't have to get taped. Thank goodness. I've been taped every day since I've been married, since I got married. That's even, I was an ultra runner at some point in my life, and that's even as an ultra runner, still had to get taped. My ideal weight from the Army is 174. There's no way that's happened, and I'll grapple anybody that says I can.
I'll take this moment briefly and let you finish, but I want to iterate something. I've said this many times before. I want to say it again because it hasn't gotten everywhere. I see the comments on Reddit pages and stuff. There is no such thing as failing the height weight screening tables.
That's right.
They are a screening table. There is no judgment associated with needing to get taped.
Just get
the
taped.
way I explain it to people that helps others understand it is if you exceed the screening table weight and have to get taped, you have tested positive for gains.
Yep.
Then they have to break out the tape measure to find out whether those were lean gains or not.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
That's a hell of a t-shirt opportunity right there. Tested positive for gains.
I tested positive for gains. I still, to this day, will have to get taped, and that's fine. And I definitely feel like I've tested positive for gains. Somewhere my coach, Coach Frank, it's going to crack up on that. He loves
fellow
it.
Gainsman. You're a Gainsman. What can you say?
Just banging out gains. So the so we've got this problem in America where convenience is king, and it's not a problem. It's just how life is. You have a busy life. You want to eat. What are we going to eat for dinner? You know, I am. I have a pretty stressful job. I'm out about doing all kinds of things. I try and make sure my breakfast is spot on. If I don't bring a lunch and somehow something pops up as an emergency or crisis for me during lunch, you know, I usually have I have some lean protein in the office, so I can just grab that quick. Dinner, you know, I mean, the other night I got home at like 7. Everyone else is eating, so what am I going to eat? I'm going to grab whatever leftovers we have in the fridge. I have got nearly 25 years of experience in the Army feeding myself. My son, I think, we don't know, he hasn't called us yet, is on day 4 of basic training at Fort Jackson.
Nice.
He just joined the Hawaii National Guard here. You know, he lives in Hilo, which is on the Big Island. Sorry, there's 8 islands in Hawaii. We're not all in one spot. So he lives on the island with the active volcanoes. I guarantee some sergeant is teaching him what he should be eating or should not be eating based upon what's on his plate. and with our recent Department of War discussions, I bet it's a great time. And I didn't warn him, so hopefully he learns, because Dad's example of well, you don't need to eat Taco Bell every day as a college kid. I know he's not listening. I don't know if we answered that question, but I would tell you, if I and I am was in a position to affect how much nutritious food was inside the DFACs, I would make that change. Somewhere else in our show notes, we talk about the difference between Special Operation Forces, kind of H2F writ large, health and holistic fitness writ large, and the conventional forces. One of those things is the desire, ability, care to say, I'm going to give extra money to the 1-for-1 rations to humans. So when I was young and in the Rangers, we got 2-to-1, 2 times money for rations to one human being. So we could afford fresh eggs, fresh salads, fresh meats, kind of leaner proteins.
Just so I can make sure that people are hearing what you're saying right now, is it accurate to summarize what you're saying is it's 100% kosher to spend O&M dollars on serving better food to your soldiers?
My food services warrant officer would tell you otherwise.
Is there a process to make it okay?
Bingo.
There we go.
That's right. So all you have to do is find the right commander who's willing to say yes.
And a talented warrant officer to make sure everything looks right on the books.
Well, I mean, it's not, we're not lying to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Here in Hawaii, we spend, every day is 80 degrees or higher. We live in high altitude here, relatively. We work in an incredibly high altitude on the other island at 6,500 feet above ground level, or above sea level, excuse me. And so we have to feed people so they can survive in high heat, high humidity, littoral jungles. You should not be eating the same thing as a person who is going through basic training. That's just, they will not survive. They just can't do it. There's not enough calories in your body to make it happen. So, a commander who is willing to say, I want to spend a little bit more on things like fresh foods, fresh fruits, maybe add a protein shake or some sort of thing inside of their dining facility, versus spending that money on ice cream, or spending that money on the extra cake. Although Thanksgiving is next week, and Army dining facilities throw a huge bash for Thanksgiving.
I shared this with Hots and Cots. You're probably familiar with them at this point, especially if you're an installation sergeant major.
I think I've been on it a few times.
Yeah. I don't know where this came from. I haven't been active duty in years. I never had this happen when I was active duty, but I had a dream about DFAC Thanksgiving last week.
Yeah.
I remember I dreamed about a DFAC
dream
meal.
Or a bad dream?
It was a good dream. I mean, once it got to the Thanksgiving part of the food, it was
sure.
Yeah.
Everything that leads up to that before Thanksgiving becomes a problem. But the meal itself, there is nothing like an Army DFAC meal. And fortunately or unfortunately, we have 4 dining facilities here. One at the NCO Academy, which is rather small, but they always put on a great show. We've got our 2nd Brigade, Warrior Inn, I think is what they're calling them now, which is fine. The brigade's called the Warriors, so I've never called it anything different. Our 3rd Brigade, the Broncos, they've got their dining facility in a building that was built in 1920. It survived the bombing of Pearl Harbor. And then our Division Sustainment Brigade has their bistro. And each of them will pick a different theme. Each of them will work all week next week to make it happen. And again, unfortunately or fortunately, I am on the judging team, so I have to eat.
Got to try it all. Yeah.
4 Thanksgiving meals before I make my own. So again, I'm going to have
it's tough at the top. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so hard.
That's really.
It just means I can't not work out on Thursday, which is fine.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're carbo loading for some big training sessions on the weekend. Yeah.
Bro, I'm building for gains.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm failing for gains.
There you go.
So Drew asked about things that have changed in the time you've been in the Army.
Yeah.
And I'm going to cite one you threw out in your NCO journal article.
Sure.
But I was reading through it and I noticed your comment that less than 20% of 25th Infantry Division soldiers have combat experience in today's formation. And that's a big shift from just a few years ago.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's a shift back to an Army that you were exposed to early in your time in the Army. And I'm curious what you've seen in terms of the impact on the culture of going from a time when guys with combat experience were relatively rare to a time when everybody had combat experience to now today where it's becoming rarer again.
Yeah. Let me start with if you're a company commander or first sergeant or field grade and you feel less than somebody who has a combat patch, or I forget what they call it, SSI, shoulder sleeve insignia.
Yep.
Just remember, even dirtbags deployed. And combat experiences may vary. So just because they have a patch doesn't mean that they're an expert at whatever it is they say they do. Now, that's not taking anything away from our combat veterans, because life is hard deployed. You don't know what's coming next. And for some of those locations that we received mortars or rockets, or you didn't even know if you were going to survive the next day. And everyone handles stress differently. When I came into the Army, my first platoon leader was Lieutenant Cheney. I always pronounce his name wrong. He'll correct me later. And at the time, Sergeant First Class Albertson, who retired as Command Sergeant Major Albertson, DXO to the SMA. I always thought that Chuck, now as he refers to himself, was a Panama Ranger. We had a few in the unit. We had a few Somali vets in the unit as well, but there were hardly any CIBs, combat infantry badges, which was the mark of an infantryman. Then it meant that you had turned and returned fire on the enemy. What we did at that moment when we found out what was happening was we didn't do anything above platoon. The training stayed at team, squad, platoon. If you've got 3 or 4 well-oiled war machines called infantry platoons, a infantry company can solve incredible problems. And that's what led us to those deployments. Those first 4 years that I was with that one platoon, 2nd Platoon, Bravo Company, 2nd Ranger Battalion, we didn't have a single casualty, wounded or otherwise, not one. And that it was not easy times. Those were hard. We had to train for Afghanistan. We trained for Iraq. We were in the Hindu Kush. We did some really hard stuff. Shout out to Mountain Tactical. Those folks got us ready for our trip for Thanksgiving in 2003, where I spent Thanksgiving at about 10,000 feet in the Hindu Kush foothills of the Himalayas. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Your combat experience doesn't matter. Can you train small teams to close with and destroy whatever it is that you do? If you're an HR professional, can your small unit do the HR professional thing with or without a computer and move out? if combat calls for us, we will make that happen. We will do it. Or if you're an infantryman or an engineer or a fire supporter, can you do that under fire? And guess what? We're not going to get more combat veterans. It's just not going to happen. So let's get past the feeling less than. It takes a little bit of humility. It also takes a little bit of like research. I love history. I love to read it. I love to think about it, watch. Particularly, I enjoy watching drunk history on YouTube because it tells me a good story and I can laugh about it. There will be a time that our nation is asked, will ask us to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. And that day, it will be too late to be a credible deterrence to our enemy.
I'll, like, brief aside before I go into the next question. I appreciate some of those comments. I have felt those feelings. I'm still in the reserve, and I'm a major with no combat patch. And I felt weird about it. I chased trying to get onto deployment really, really hard in my lieutenant and captain days.
Yeah.
Most specifically, when I was at career course, I asked to see the patch chart. Next unit on the patch chart was 1st Brigade, 10th Mountain Division.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I'm not really stoked on Fort Drum necessarily, but sign me up. I'm going.
Yeah.
And while I was driving on my PCS to Fort Drum, they canceled that deployment.
Mm-hmm.
But
He's not bitter.
Everybody I know that has chased a combat deployment has lost a good friend.
Oof.
Or has faced human to human contact that has changed their life forever.
Mm-hmm.
It will happen. Don't chase it.
This is going to be 2 episodes in a row where he gets his name dropped. We're overdue for having him on the podcast. You might know Andy Saslov, Brigadier General Saslov.
He was my company commander.
Yeah, so he was my battalion commander.
Dude, we're circling the wagons so tight. We have to get him now.
So the podcast that's going to come out this Sunday is with a guy who was also in his battalion when he was a battalion commander. So like full circle moment happening here.
Andy says.
But he gave me some really. I remember talking to him about it because he was like helping me as I was trying to get into a different brigade to get on deployment, whatever.
Yeah.
All that's in the past. But he gave me some really good advice on, just like you said, don't chase it. Like, careful what you wish for. You don't know what this thing is that you're chasing.
Yeah.
But also he made the point that, because I felt like I couldn't do my job unless I deployed. I wasn't really doing my job unless I was deployed. And his point was, your job is to be ready for it.
Mm-hmm.
Your job is to be able to do it.
Yep.
If or when asked.
Yeah.
Like, focus on that. Let the whether it happens thing take care of itself. The job is to be prepared and to prepare the people you lead. And I appreciated that.
Yeah. That actually, so I think we mentioned it earlier. I've been on this installation for 5.5 years. I started out as a command sergeant major in our 2nd Brigade. They're called the Warriors, in a unit called the 21st Infantry Regiment, the Gimlets. That unit has been here since 1921. They recently celebrated their centennial, or whatever that is, 100 years. I don't do math, not good at English.
Nailed it. Centennial.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Then I went from there into Brigade. I was selected through Sergeant Major's assessment program, which, by the way, I thought was fantastic to have an external evaluation. I treated it like selection. And I was lucky enough to stay. And then lastly, about 20 or so months ago, I was getting my shoulder repaired, completely reconstructed. And I came up on an interview for this job and was selected. How many of those people do you think had gone to combat in those 5.5 years?
In the last 5.5 years?
Mm-hmm.
Knowing Pacific mission sets, there's a decent chance none of them, because they were going on Pacific Theater rotations.
That's right. They're going on pathways. Yeah. So unless they came out of Forces Command, and had done time in Syria or somewhere else in Central Command, There's no combat experience. None. Guess what I ask them to do every year? I send them west of the international date line to be a credible deterrence to an enemy that I will not disclose on this podcast. But it is west. And I'm the most Western element in America.
People who are good at geography can draw conclusions.
Get a map.
Find a map. In my office, every day I walk in, and the first thing I look at, I've got the NCO Creed, because that's what I believe in. And then I've got a map of the operational environment, right? That's my requirement. That's what I'm prepared for. None of us have seen combat in that region to what reality will be if it happens.
Has
So,
your
go ahead.
I want to jump in with a curveball, and Alex, we talked about having this conversation with Fillion. Deploying Middle East, that's been the narrative all along, and now has the visualization and the reality of what has happened in the war in Ukraine changed the way that you think about training your soldiers for the potential next fight?
Every day. So the Army unveiled this program called Transformation in Contact about a year and change ago. And Transformation in Contact is the Army's solution to rapidly change brigade organizations with tech, personnel, and tactics to outpace what is written in doctrine. And so we learned, I was in 3rd Brigade when the Russia-Ukraine war started. And my commander at the time, Colonel Rob Shaw, also probably want to talk to that guy. He saw the need for us to understand what fighting against an enemy that had drones would be. So he sent me down to Best Buy, and we used the government purchase card, and I bought every drone they had. And then when they resupplied, I did it again. And then they started charging me too much, so we figured out a different way. So we were using drones back then, not to how am I going to fight them, but how am I going to react to it? What does react to a drone look like? And that became an eye-opening experience. Let's fast forward to about 3 weeks ago. I'm on one of our ranges, and we had an organization come and show us. So we 3D print drones here in Hawaii. Sweet. I could make a drone for about $350. It's all across the blue list. Let's not get across that discussion. It's all the parts and pieces have to be made in America to be used with our soldiers. Well, this person inserted a chip onto my drones, and now I've got a drone swarm. Guess what I haven't heard in my life other than YouTube? A drone swarm. And that will haunt you.
Yeah. You've never listened to U2?
What's that?
You say U2 like the band?
No, Drew,
no,
YouTube.
Not like Bono, like YouTube. Like, yeah.
Okay. I was like, man, I don't know if I'm going to let him slide on that. Okay. Anyway, drone swarms.
No, go for it. You challenge everything. We are world. I'm in a Hawaiian shirt. We can challenge anything we want. We have to challenge the way we think about training, equipping, and moving our people constantly. The threat of our enemies is moving faster than doctrine can be written. But at some point, we have to consolidate gains, which I think the Army's at now. We've changed Transformation in Contact to continual transformation. We'll spend probably the next 90 to 180 days. We just finished the combat training rotation. And we'll write an AAR just like 101st did, and just like 10th Mountain did for theirs. And now it's time for us across the Army to consolidate gains and make major changes. And it's coming. It's coming fast.
All right. So we are past the hour mark. We appreciate you hanging in with us.
No,
I don't think I'm editing it at all.
We're doing it raw. Very paleo podcast. We don't edit stuff.
frankly, I'm just now getting to the question that made me want to even have like a 25th ID oriented podcast at all.
Yeah. PTSD.
Which is,
oh, go ahead.
Yes. So it's the Punisher. I think technically we're calling it the Incline Skills Trainer.
Incline Skills Trainer. Trainer. Yeah.
It's a
I'm
ramp
probably
for
going to
people
keep,
who don't know what the picture.
I think I'm going to keep calling it a Punisher. We'll let you describe what it is in a second for those that are not used to them, haven't experienced them themselves. But this apparatus was previously a Ranger Regiment specific thing.
That's correct.
At least as far as I know, and it sounds like it was. I've only ever seen it at Ranger battalions. I'm curious. One, like, do you know where it came from? Like, who had the idea for it originally? Like, how did it come to be? And then why did 25th? Hey, there we go. So how? And then like the follow up part of that is like, why bring it to 25th ID? What about it was compelling enough that you decided to build a couple on the island?
Okay, so during the Global War on Terror, when the 75th Ranger Regiment was tasked to chase the enemies of our nation across mountains and salt flats, they had to come up with an apparatus to train their people so that they didn't deploy and touch that type of terrain for the first time. And so they came up with this thing called the Punisher. The person who came up with it is Bruce Sidman. I probably pronounced his wrong. Coach will come back and yell at me later. He is still in the fitness industry for, I think they call it Thor 3 right now. Maybe they've changed that inside of the soft community, but he's still out there. And so Coach comes up with this thing. And the idea is we train Rangers how to scale vertical climbs, how to scale different types of steps, how to climb ropes, and how to climb caving ladders, so that if called upon to climb such things in the mountains of Afghanistan, they could do so, because there's not a lot of mountains at Fort Benning, Georgia, just hard to train. So they brought that. The next folks who put that into their formation was ASOS, Air Force Special Operations. Frankly, because they were going to train with the Rangers and they wanted to make sure that they were prepared to do so. It sat that way, those two apparatuses, for roughly a decade. A couple of years ago, my Ranger buddy, Colonel Rob Shaw, 3rd Brigade commander, and I, as I was his CSM, started kicking around the idea of how do we bring something like that here to Hawaii. What we were seeing was it takes about 30 to 45 minutes to put people on a bus to drive them out to our training areas. And if you've never been in the Pacific, we have mountains, and then we have this thing called a gulch, which is a mountain going downwards. You have to be able to traverse strange angles. You have to be able to carry a rucksack, a heavy load. Maybe you're carrying a backpack that has a drone in it that's bigger than what you're expected, at strange angles of incline, at different types of choppy steps, whether it be kind of doing a traverse up the side of a mountain, kind of small steps, or I'm using a rope and I'm hand over hand climbing up big tall steps. So we had our 2nd Brigade command team was Sergeant Major Garrett O'Keefe. He's now over at Forces Command, and Colonel Graham White, who former commander of 3rd Ranger Battalion, who, by the way, was my company commander in Charlie Company 275 way back when. Awesome human being. So we created this insurgency on fitness, because H2F was not programmed for the 25th. When I got here, we had 0. It was all out of pocket. It was what commanders were spending O&M dollars on to put gyms into their facilities. We had our 4 or 5 non-appropriated fund gyms across the installation, which are awesome. You should come down and work out in one. It's a fantastic prison gym. You work out in the sun, so you get a tan while you work out.
I have trained there. It's great.
Yeah, I love it. I go there probably 3-4 times a week. But we weren't focused on preparing people for the jungle. And so the 4 of us decided with our fellow teams that we were going to throw caution to the wind, and you for be damned, we're going to get this thing out here. So we went for it, and the command general at the time approved it. And so we have 2. So we were, at the time, there were 4 in the Department of Defense. The 2 that were built for the global war on terror and preparing people for that, and the 2 that were built for preparing people for the realities of combat in the Pacific. We have since seen a significant reduction in musculoskeletal injury because now I've got a place to train odd angle, short and tall step, cut movements, and weighted movements at angle within 300 meters of a barracks. So I don't have to put you on a bus to get you out there to find out you get hurt. I can do it right here, right next to your barracks. Oh, by the way, if you do get hurt, you're also less than 150 meters from or now H2F civilians who can see you for physical therapy or whatever, OT and nutrition. So we've kind of connected that dot. This is a reality we have to fight. I'm probably 10 miles away from our Lightning Academy. That's our jungle school location. The SMA and I were out there a few weeks ago during our combat training rotation. He and I, slept in hammocks and we're out there chasing with the OP4, the opposing force, and then flip sides and fought with the Blue Force, our training unit. Both of them had to bust a gulch. Both of them had to fight with an MRE or less in their belly. And guess where they trained? On the inclined skills trainer. Guess why I don't call it the Punisher? Because that is 75th Ranger Regiments. And I'm not going to take it.
That's fair.
We have Hill 180. If you don't know, Colonel Millett at the time was captain. He led the last official bayonet charge. And so that's Hill 180. That's named after him. The second one is named after Medal of Honor recipient Birdwell. Please put him in the show notes. This young man during the Tet Offensive for 3-4 Cavalry, 3/4 Cav, was in a tank. His tank was disabled. He hopped to the next one, put together a machine gun that worked, fought until that machine gun broke. A helicopter broke down. He fought his way to that helicopter, grabbed the minigun, shot that thing, and then continued to defend against the Tet Offensive. So amazing human being. We call him differently. I don't want to steal anybody else's credit.
We need to get some Vietnam veterans on here, Alex.
So
yeah, it's hard to get the Vietnam veterans to talk. So unless you have a way to make them feel.
I'm looking at you.
At me?
Yeah.
I mean, I talk to them all the time.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm looking at. I'm like, you're our connect.
Yeah. So I am a member. Today I am Mr. Shaun Curry. So I got a little camera zoom here.
Happens to Drew all the time. He'll figure it out.
I'm a Purple Heart recipient, and I spend time with our veteran support organizations. I don't have a lot of free time, but in my free time, I sit around with a lot of our Vietnam veterans, Korean veterans. Here in Hawaii, we've got a really good community. We spend a lot of time with each other, just kind of talk the story and what happened, what didn't happen. These are people who were called to service, told to go to service without much warning. And so we talk about like being fit to fight, be ready to go. Like, imagine being just a dude pumping gas. You find out tomorrow you're going to war.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't train. Sorry, drop the swears, but like, I knew something was possible, but I didn't think it was going to be possible until I got the basic training. And then everyone's talking about going to war and cadence, and like, all right, that's just how it's going to work. Try that in 5 years from now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'd be a fascinating conversation. Anyway, I derailed us. Apologies.
I'll get us slightly back in the road because we're going to work to a close here.
Sure.
I think Drew will close us out, but I'm going to sneak in one last question before he does. And this is less of a question and more of an observation. But I ran a couple. It was then Master Fitness Trainer. Now it's H2F Integrator, but I think it's largely the same course. I ran a couple MTTs in Hawaii for that course. Never got lucky enough to be stationed there.
Yeah.
But one thing I noticed and appreciated and utilized during those courses is the obstacle courses right in the barracks areas on the island there. Do you? I'm curious. You seem to know
pain. Go ahead.
How did that? I don't know if you know how that came to be. Do those get a lot of use? I'm curious your thoughts on like why that's the case there and nowhere else. Because I'm a huge obstacle course guy.
Yeah.
I arguably joined the Army for obstacle courses and then was deeply.
Who doesn't?
I was very disappointed.
Swing around and fall and like
love a playground.
Yeah, who doesn't love an adult playground of weird angles, obstacles, and like falling?
Yeah.
Well, they gave me tons of that when I was like in initial entry training type stuff. And then you get to the Army and you don't do obstacle courses nearly as much as I thought.
Not until you're tested for some sort of best of squad, right?
Yeah. I wish it was more of a thing, and it gets to be more of a thing. You've got an obstacle course right outside your barracks.
Do y'all use them?
Oh, you're hurting my soul right now. Okay, well, let's start. So, 3rd Brigade inside the quads, which is what you're talking about. Those quads is the barracks and workspace of 3rd Maneuver Brigade and our 25th Infantry Division Artillery Brigade. Those are the original regimental barracks that were here when the 25th was actually 2 units, the 24th Hawaiian Division and the 25th Division. And during the bombing of Pearl Harbor, those buildings were targeted because they could be seen from the sky. And that's what the Japanese used to test fire the weapon systems before they bombed before they started bombing Wheeler Army Airfield, which is about a mile down the road, and then sank 8 capital ships in Pearl Harbor, Hickam. So I don't know when you're going to release this, but it's probably close to that time frame to the anniversary. All right, so inside of those buildings, those soldiers know the history. And there was a brigade commander, I don't know exactly which one, but it's probably within the last 10 years, wanted to have obstacles inside of his quads so that soldiers could run from building to building. And they're, at furthest distance, maybe we're at 3/4 of a mile. When I was the brigade sergeant major for the brigade, I would once a week run the entire distance around the quads and through the obstacles as a way to inspect my soldiers and to ensure that they were doing PT when they needed to, or police call it happened, or folks are mowing the yard or cutting grass with scissors or whatever. The obstacles are being used. This is why I have heartache. I have one official obstacle course on the entire piece of property for U.S. Army Hawaii. That obstacle course is built for the air assault standard, because we run an air assault school here. And so it's built to that standard. I have spent years studying the Army's regulations on obstacles and obstacle courses, because when I got here in 2020, Sergeant Major, now retired Puyat, was the division sergeant major, and he tasked me to find and make a assault or rapid obstacle course. And I found one. Guess where it is? It's less than a mile from my headquarters. It's in the jungle. Someone already built it.
I think I know the one you're talking about. It's just got like a little fence around it. It's up against the trees.
Nope.
No, maybe
fence.
not.
This is like, you wouldn't even know it's there. It's been consumed by the jungle. The jungle consumes all. It's
just an obstacle course hidden in the jungle in Hawaii?
Yeah.
Huh.
But it was made out of wood, which at the time is what they needed. And this thing has now fallen in such disrepair. So we are, insurgency, fatwa, call it what you want. The commander and I are working our hardest to bring an obstacle course back onto main post, Schofield Barracks. So we've got the one inside of 3rd Brigade, which is great. There are a few that I'm not quite sure I would use because, they're like there's a Tarzan one that's probably a little too tall. Get hurt when they use it. So we're making adjustments to those. We brought in caving ladders, we brought in fast ropes, and threw in a bunch of 8-foot walls all over the place just to make people get fit and traverse odd objects. But we are working on a project here locally. So the one that's for Lighting Academy, that's always going to stay pristine. We're going to make sure that thing is fit and ready to go, because I never want to lose the ability to have an air assault school here in Hawaii. The one that's local, I will probably make as gritty and as gnarly as possible, so that everybody from the combat medic to the combat engineer to our mortuary affairs specialists get the ability to do a monkey climb and the tough one and the ropes and all that, and feel like they're in the jungle where it sucks, and then pop out of the wood line and they're 5 minutes from a defect. Like, this hurts so bad because our number one miss last year for best mortar was the obstacle course. We took second in the Army best mortar, and unfortunately or fortunately for them, 3rd Ranger Battalion beat us. And if you look at my bio, that was my last unit in the 75th Ranger Regiment, and I give them crap every time I see them. I also do the same with Best Ranger. We train the crap out of our folks. I'm chasing you down, Rangers. I'm chasing you down. And still, the winning champs of Army Best Squad, since we didn't do one this year, 25th Infantry Division.
Nice. Well, your passion for obstacle courses is warming my heart a little bit. Doctrine nerds, nobody else will appreciate why I'm sad about this. But when I was at the physical fitness school is when the new FM 7-22 was being written and came out. And close observers of the transition from the previous one to the current one will know the 2012 version of FM 7-22 had obstacle course doctrine.
Yeah.
It explained the difference between different categories of obstacle course. You've got conditioning obstacle courses, you've got endurance. Like, there's different reasons you would build it for different skills and things like that. That doctrine no longer exists. The Army no longer has doctrine for obstacle courses. The only stuff that remains are engineering standards and safety standards on obstacle courses that live in like the policy and construction realm. For a brief period there, it was looking like they might allow me to write some obstacle course doctrine to insert into it, but they were too far down the road on trying to get that thing published. So if any of the folks at Fort Eustis are hearing this and want me to like suggest some obstacle course doctrine, let me know, because it's very sad to me that we no longer have that. But
yeah, that actually hurts a lot to hear. I have stared, I don't know if that's the right word, at the obstacle course there. We call it the Phoenix, the one we have here. And I worked on it, and for 5+ years, we've been fighting to get that thing up and running. And the fact that it's not in our doctrine is not great. Where else can you train a soldier? How many kids
getting heated
are in high school right now doing a physical sport?
Zero. Well, that's not true, but
not zero, but not as many as Drew and I met thanks to John F. Kennedy's Soft American article.
Introduced us.
Back here.
Wow. before or after.
Yeah, you would love that article, actually. I think
I would. Yes, please send that.
Yeah. But one of the key pieces of it is the fitness that makes men reliable in battle is not built in a few weeks. Basic training, it's built in like months and years on corner lots.
That's
and
right.
Playgrounds and
that's right.
Yeah.
Stickball changed it for everybody. So where do we train them? How do we help them see? I bet the folks that scaled the cliffs of Point to Hawk trained their faces off on how to climb those ropes before they ever made it to Point to Hawk. And this was an active community, that survived the Depression.
Grew up on those truly dangerous playgrounds, like the metal things that were huge.
Yeah. Feel like you got like burned by going down the metal slide, I'm not saying we should do that more often, or maybe I am.
more metal slides.
Yeah, more metal slides, more of the thing that you spun really fast and the kids would fly off the side.
Oh yeah.
Hey, look, no one outranks general safety, and so I have to caveat with that because I do actually have to listen to all the ICE comments that come in, and that's probably one that comes a lot. But so how do we train people to do these things before we send them off to do it for real, whether in combat or in a operational deployment somewhere else outside of our army? And it's our job, fitness writ large, it's our job to make sure that they are prepared for the worst day ever. Period. Lack of sleep, lack of nutrition, high heat, very cold, right? About a year ago, I was up in Alaska. They were showing us their Arctic Training Center. It was -20 when I landed. I don't have cold weather gear. I froze my tail off. We don't get cold weather gear in Alaska. It just doesn't happen. Or in Hawaii, it doesn't happen. But someone taught me, and they did. Their instructors came out. They showed me the equipment. They taught us how to survive with the Army equipment that was issued. And I did just fine. I got no frostbite. We got to do the same thing with odd objects and obstacles. Off the soapbox. Let's keep going. Sorry.
Well, I was gonna close you with one, but now I'm changing directions. And if you've hate listened to us now for some time, you may have heard this one.
Lots of spite happening here.
Two-parter. Something you've changed your mind on, something you've doubled down on, and you can start with either, but you got to hit both.
In 2011, October 2011, I was wounded as a platoon sergeant for reconnaissance platoon for 2nd Range Battalion. I did not take my injuries as seriously as they were, both physical and non-visible, behavioral health wise. As a first sergeant for 3rd Range Battalion, I had 2 back-to-back traumatic brain injuries that led to dramatic cognitive decline that my spouse noticed first. And a good friend of mine who was a double amputee led me into a program at Walter Reed called National Intrepid Center of Excellence, NICO. While I was there, I did 30 days inpatient in the psych ward at Walter Reed. Psych ward and TBI ward are on the same floor. So the thing I've taken most seriously in my life, in probably the last, I don't know, close to 10 years now, is taking care of myself. So what does that look like? I have a morning routine. I get up in the morning. I hit the latrine. I feed my dog, do a little bit of self-service. I meditate for 20 to 25 minutes. I do my hygiene. I listen to the news, because people ask me about the news at weird moments of the day. And then I go work out. I come back and I eat. That's my morning, every morning since 2016. I finally started listening to sleep. I heard your podcast the other day about wearables. Very interested in that. I have my own that I pay attention to. We won't say them out loud. And my sleep, my HRV, and my resting heart rate are the things I pay attention to the most, that I never cared about before. I grew up in an army that was sleep is a crutch. That is false, friends. That will get you hurt. If you're a planner and you think I'm going to work 20 hours a day and get 4 hours of sleep and then create the same output every day for a combat rotation, it won't happen. You are drunk after 2 days of 6 hours or less. So, would you feed your commander an op order that you wrote drunk? Probably not. Would you drive an LMTD in that same manner? Nope. And you wouldn't grab a rifle in the same manner. So there's a lot happening. So those are probably the three things that I've focused on the most. I lost sight of the second one. Sorry.
Something you've changed your mind on.
He kind of got that. He changed his mind on sleep.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Sleep is so important that I go to bed every day like the same time. My wife, I don't know, she just walked out of the room, will probably make fun of me for it. But it's a sleep. What do you think? Sleep hygiene? Is that something I've changed in the last few years?
I love this.
Yeah. She says yes. And she says mine is good and hers is not. So she's working on hers. Oh, hers sucks because my sleep is not great. So in the Rangers, I was a master breacher. So I was exposed to tons of explosions, which kind of led me to needing a CPAP to sleep peacefully. As you can see, I'm not in the same body weight scale that most folks who have a CPAP need it. Mine is because of burning of my soft palate. And that unfortunately affects her sleep. So that's both. Let's do both of that.
There you go. Awesome. Yeah. Well, I know it's self-care day for you, and I think you have a massage.
Yeah, I got a massage. Okay, so sorry. This morning, we did our DEOX report to our staff. That's our kind of wellness check into the staff, how well we've been doing for the last 6 months or so. The commander is new here for, I think he's at about 100 days of service with the division. So we talked about that. One of the big hits was no electronic communications after 1800. So if you need to text me and it's after 1800, you can text me tomorrow at 06 because I'm not going to read it. Nice. If you need me and it's an emergency, because sometimes that happens, just call me and I will answer that. But don't do it in between because I don't really care. I've got to spend some time with my family. The other one was PT at odd hours. We talked about that before. If you're going to have a meeting at 04 in the morning, you're probably not working out your best at 06:30. So, but program PT at some other time. I got a migraine treatment about an hour and a half ago now. I guess we're at an hour and a half. So probably 2 hours ago now. It's called Botox. Yes, that's why I look so young.
You look great. You look great.
Thanks. Appreciate it. It's the sunlight. It's fantastic out here. I've got the shades closed so we're not blinded by how beautiful Hawaii is.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Yeah,
you're welcome. It's all about the scene. Got to set the scene. But I use Botox as part of my pain management, so I don't have to take medicine to skew the way I feel and think when fighting migraines from my traumatic brain injury. And then in about 2 more hours from now, I'm going to go get some massage therapy done because that's super important. 2 days ago, I had dry needling on my back and traps. And every day I get crushed by my strength coach on the H2F team.
Boom. Now just showing off.
What a closer. There we go. Perfect.
No,
We
not showing
appreciate
off.
you.
Tell me what is your self-care routine? We
Alex, what's
listen to
your
a lot of
self-care?
folks on your stuff. I spite listen to people on your podcast. Why don't both of you tell us what is your
It's funny you say that. We actually did. I was thinking about that, man. When was the last time? Because Brendan came on and interviewed us, but that was a long time ago now.
Yeah.
I'm
Didn't Newton do something similar?
He did. It was a hybrid episode of sorts. I'm
not
like you.
Anybody. But let's not do that.
I have a big.
What's new in your life?
Actually, starting over furlough, I got back into journaling. That was part of my morning routine that kind of came and went. Just kind of it was like an as needs thing.
How do you do it?
But I'm like you, big morning routine guy.
Yeah. How do you do your journaling? Like
not well.
Like big three? Like what is your?
No, so I do it as though I really just dumping whatever's on my brain as though I'm talking to somebody. But one thing I found that was very helpful, especially with the morning stuff, was like just a quick 3 things I want to do today. And that could be very tangible things, or it could be more of existential is the wrong word, but be more present with my daughter, for example. That's not a check the box. It's just more of a state of mind. So I don't know if there's so I don't know if there's a official name for that approach, but that's what works for me. But yeah, wake up early. I've done a ton of yoga too in the last couple of years. Big yoga guy. Yeah.
How are you doing that? Video, or you got you go to a place?
So I have gone to places in the past. YouTube, and I tell this to every athlete I work with. Anybody who's come through Mobs for training has seen the YouTube clips that I will send, because if you have not gone to the yoga corner of YouTube, there are billions of videos you can just get for
weird
free.
Back there. Gotta be careful.
Yeah. So I not to plug our blog, but did a blog post on this a couple of weeks ago, just to brain dump the resources that I use in case anybody wanted to learn how to get into it. I'm not a yogi by any means, but I have found that the kind of intentional movement, the breathing, whatever, helps. Sounds cheesy. Helps you center, ground, whatever you want to call it.
There's nothing cheesy about finding your center, my friend.
There you go. So that's most furlough. It was every morning. But trying to get it in most days of the week. What else, man? Smoothie every day for breakfast. Feed the dog just like you. What kind of smoothie? Well, spinach, banana, frozen fruit. Here's the kicker. Put an avocado in your smoothie. Absolute game changer.
What?
The consistency.
I used to keep a bag of frozen avocado bits, because it's hit or miss whether you have a fresh one that's
healthy
good to go at the
fats.
moment.
I get a lot of healthy, nutritious avocados out here. They're usually one side of ripe or the other. But for the healthy fat, or just consistency?
I think, probably both. I went through, I did I spent years in the trenches, quote unquote, in terms of measuring carbs, fats. I did the whole thing and just eventually got tired of it. Yeah. So sure, it's good for the healthy fats, but the consistency, I think, is where it's at.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think I tried wearables. I think I said this in our wearables episode. I just suck at them.
The
Alex
top
is better 10% than me.
Are the ones who are going to pay attention. The hard part is getting how do you get a true believer out of somebody? That's the hard part.
That's the hard part. Yeah. How do you convert somebody from don't give a shit to wearing all the things? It's a great question. Alex, what's your routine?
Ooh, things I've done recently for changes. My nutrition one is just getting better at getting enough fiber, frankly, enough whole fruits and vegetables.
Yep.
I've been trying to work those, pump those numbers up.
That's right. Those are rook numbers. Got to pump it up.
Exactly.
Yeah, come on now.
Because I've been, read enough about it. People talk about carbs, protein, fat all the time. Nobody really talks about fiber. Whenever anybody's talking about gut microbiome, the majority of that is just your fiber intake.
Yeah.
I need to do more fiber. It's a good point.
Yeah. It's not sexy. Metamucil is not the hot supplement for performance, but in terms of actual health outcomes, fiber is the goat.
Get on that hot Metamucil.
That's just a spoonful of Metamucil. Jay is not. So I've got a bag.
We need a Mops and Mo's Metamucil supplement.
You should, yeah. You should get something. I've got a bag of greens in my cabinet that I've been staring at for the last month that I probably should be taking.
There you go.
Just for the fiber. Keep going.
Dump it in your smoothie.
Almost all the rest of mine, and I know Emily's downstairs right now, but she can totally hear me. She can't hear the rest of the conversation. But almost everything else I've like made a change on for the better with my health and fitness related stuff is like probably attributable to her.
Yeah.
Look at you.
And like most of that is making some of these activities more social. Because you talked about like your blue book standards, like nobody will train alone. Like especially now that I'm a civilian and control my schedule and stuff, I tend to train alone.
Yeah.
And I like it, and I'm still going to do plenty of it. But she's got me going to run club on Mondays. She's got me like finding people to climb with, finding people to like play pickleball with on the weekends when the weather's nice.
Are you good at that, at pickleball?
Am I good at pickleball? No.
Do you dink in the kitchen?
No, but it's pretty fun though.
It's good.
And like singles, you can keep your heart rate decently elevated if you like play constantly. But like, I think the social connection piece of like overall wellness is underrated, and she's much better at it than I am. So
that's a good point.
She's helping me get better at that.
There's one of the pillars, one of the 5 pillars of H2F is social spiritual, and we see that a lot in Hawaii, where folks come out here and their families are on the East Coast. It's hard to connect. If you don't do that, you will suffer. The reason why we have 5 pillars is they all work kind of together.
I will shout out some research. I may be overdue on bringing Rich Westrick on this podcast. I don't know if he listens. He's here in Colorado Springs, former Usarium guy, but he is one of the authors of this research. But the title is Patterning of Musculoskeletal Injuries in the U.S. Army, a Sociocentric Social Network Analysis. And it does, in fact, turn out that like the nature of your social relationships within your unit have a pretty substantial effect on the injury risk of individual soldiers.
Yeah. Our units that have faster return duty rates for temporary profiles are the units that have profile recovery PT by group every day. And the same thing is for our pregnancy and postpartum PT programs. The females in that program who are active in the program have better connection throughout their pregnancy and post-pregnancy, return to duty faster. And I didn't write a fancy report. I don't have a doctorate degree, but I can tell you from personal experience, that's what I'm seeing here in Hawaii. So
how do you...
Awesome. Go ahead.
I should have asked you this earlier. This is one of my favorite questions to ask folks that kind of sit at your level. How do you get the truth? When you're going around, because I see this every day, right? You get the kind of dog and pony. How do you get the real?
I've been here for so long that I'm like undercover boss. Like it's non-threatening. Now, how do I get the real?
The fear is worn off.
Yeah, probably until I start freaking out, throwing artisans, which happened a few weeks ago. I guess last week. But I have a sergeant on my team in the front office that we rotate out. We pick one and kind of rotate them every 6 to 8 months. My intent of that NCO is that they are my kind of bona fides. They kind of get me into places that other people wouldn't talk. And then we do, I guess back in the old days, we call them sensing sessions, where I would have breakfast with a young soldier or a group of soldiers. We spend time working out. Every Tuesday, I work out with the newcomers. So every new human soldier that comes to, not that there's not a human soldier, but every new soldier that comes to U.S. Army Hawaii.
Y'all are into some weird shit in Hawaii.
There's some craziness happening here. There's like some Atlas thing. Have you seen that? Like I'm totally just now catching up to news. The hell was that thing? Anyways, every service member who comes to U.S. Army Hawaii does PT with me on Tuesday if I'm in town. And awesome. I ask them 3 questions while we work out. who are you? Where are you from? What do you do for fun? And so I'm kind of like trying to chip away at this this podium or pedestal most folks are put on as senior leaders. If I can break that down, they'll talk to me better. Also, it helps to just get out the woodline. So we spent some time with our Jungle Academy. We spent time the last few weeks. SMA and I and a couple other senior sergeants majors were literally in the jungle with face paint on and having a good time with soldiers. Abraham Lincoln once wrote in a book that I partially read for a degree. You got to get out of the ivory tower, right? Like if you're staying in this pristine environment, that's where they're going to look at you. Like up there, they're not those folks in that place. And I remember, I remember as a soldier, hey, the old man was a platoon leader and he was 22, but the old man didn't know what the hell was happening down in the fire team, right? That's not true. He knew everything about us. But that's the perception.
Yeah. Man. All right. We'll let you go because we could hang out all day. And I know you're doing your self-care. So,
bro,
thanks for hanging out with us.
This is like great for self-care. Just BSing.
Being social.
I could probably do this for a lot longer.
We'll get you back on. I mean, if you want to come back on and hang out with us again, we'll get you back on.
I didn't even know that this was so exclusive. I had to be asked. Yeah. That's how little I had been listening. And so Rachel, who works with me in the front office, after I got back from AUSA, Alex, and I was like, hey, I ran into this guy, Alex. You guys want these stickers? You guys gave me some stickers. I handed them out to you.
Some slaps.
I don't know what this stuff is. Give them the stuff. Slap it on something. And she's like, you talked to the guys? I'm like, well, I don't know, like for a little bit. Talking about doing PT at NCO Academy. She's like, you have no idea what you just entered.
Oh, jeez.
And that's like,
hopefully in a good way.
Yeah. It's good. It's good. So literally while we're sitting here, both her and Frank, my coach, have texted me to like, hey, how did it go? What was?
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
We got to give them shout outs. Who is it?
Yeah. Frank and Rachel.
Hey, Frank and Rachel. Thanks for letting them come hang out with us.
Oh, Frank's going to beat the crap out of me tomorrow. So I'll tell him in the morning. Yeah.
There we go.
This is perfect. Oh, man. Yeah, this has been a lot of fun. We've got nothing else.
Awesome.
Appreciate you.
Thanks, guys.
Aloha, team. Welcome to the after show. After hanging out with Command Sergeant Major. Man, I'll tell you what, probably, and I don't mean this to blow smoke, but probably one of the coolest senior leaders I think we've had on. Certainly the most transparent, open, vulnerable. You don't always get that. And so when you do, that's why, I mean, truly, that's why the episode went longer than normal, is because you may have noticed there by the end, as we were just kind of literally hanging out, it became like just three dudes shooting shit.
Now I will take it all the way back to like very early in the podcast.
Yeah.
Who did we have on? Rob. We had Rob Orr on the podcast to talk about like load carriage, rucking related stuff. And he sent us a note afterwards about how he like really appreciated it because instead of like a series of scripted questions, it just felt like, was it like a few gents having a chat?
What he didn't know is because we were very new
for.
to this. We literally were just making it up as we went along.
And we're still making it up. I don't think we figured anything out since then.
I know, but as you develop a kind of routine and you get into your rhythm, it becomes a little bit more formal. But
people will have noticed that throughout the conversation, Sergeant Major Curry mentioned a few times that we had like provided him topics. We don't always have as much structure. This one, I like. Whenever we're like requesting and getting public affairs approval to bring a person on in like a semi-official capacity, I always give them some notes about what we plan to talk about so they can review it. Sometimes we go in with a lot less structure than that. This one, I think we hit actually most of what we planned somehow because we went on a lot of tangents.
I think we did.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Talked about food.
Was food even on the plan originally?
No.
No, that nutrition stuff was off. Yeah, that was not part of the plan at all.
But it's fun. That's probably for me, like the most fun part of doing this is like you can get senior leaders who otherwise would be relatively inaccessible. And you kind of remember that not that you ever forget this, but like they're people doing things. And we didn't know this, or I didn't know this, maybe you did, but like we caught him on a self-care day. Mm-hmm. So getting to listen to a CSM talk about his self-care, I mean, in a military that in some sense still shies away from being vulnerable about like how you treat yourself, it was pretty cool for him to just, I'm getting a fucking massage. It's like, hell yeah. So yeah, no, that was fun. I had a good time.
Had a blast. It was also a good reminder of like a couple other conversations we have to have.
Yeah, we're bad at
that. Bruce Sidman, if you're out there, I searched you up while we were talking, and apparently we're already connected on LinkedIn. But
there you go.
If you want to come on and talk about the original development of the Punisher.
If anyone can connect us to McChrystal.
Yeah, McChrystal's certainly on like the white whale list.
McChrystal and McRaven, the mix. We need to get the mix on.
We have tried for both of them before, and frankly not even been able to get to like even the right point of contact to get on their calendar.
No, not even the front door.
And I understand these guys, their time is valuable. There's a lot of people asking for them. I understand that. But if somebody, the Leg Tech Nation is undefeated.
We still can't find that DSM-5 guy.
No, yeah, we cannot. I'm blanking on his name again.
The dude that wrote the book.
Yeah, it'll come.
But we're undefeated because that's still a work in progress.
Yeah, we're still working on it. You can't be defeated if we're still trying. Yeah,
exactly.
But the network has produced some incredible guest connections in the past. So I will once again appeal to all of you, McChrystal McRaven, and since the name came back to me, Alan Francis.
There you go.
At Duke.
If Travis Kelce can marry Taylor Swift off the back of just mentioning her name on a podcast, I think we can get one of those three people at least on here. We don't need to marry him, but it'd be fun to talk to him. Yeah. All right. Well, that's us done, guys. We will see you next week.
There you go.
Aloha.
Hey, Alex, let's cover our ass real quick.
Oh, great idea, Drew. All right, guys. The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Thanks for tuning into this week's episode. Before you go, please rate and review the pod on the listening platform of your choice. You can also visit us on our website at www.mopsinmos.com. That's mops, the letter N, mos.com. You can check out the library of podcast episodes, our latest blog entries, any helpful resources, and also sign up for our newsletter.
Drew nailed it. Just to underline a couple of things, the podcast entries have in-depth show notes on the website. So if you missed anything or you want to read any of the research we talk about, it is all there. You can, at the bottom of the website, sign up with your email and receive future updates from us. The blog posts go a little bit more in depth in kind of written form on a couple of topics we get questions about all the time. But most importantly, I just want to ask all you guys, our best way the word gets out is absolutely word of mouth. So tell your friends, tell the people you work with, anybody you think would find it useful. Thanks for spreading the word.
If you have any questions or comments, feel free to shoot us an email at either Drew or Alex at mopsinmos.com.
Or there's a contact form on the website.
Thank you.